Ladies and gentlemen, I don't say this with glee, but if you look at the schedule, on March 17th, Bernie Sanders is officially out of contention. So, don't get upset over the title. By the way, check out my segment prior to this one. I deadlift 315 pounds. This is the second time I've done it on this channel, but with a 7-second hold. So check it out. Do not duplicate the form. You might enjoy it. You might enjoy watching me at the gym. So, also, I do not have social media. I keep telling everyone this. I don't have a Twitter account. I don't have a Facebook account. So I typed in my name. Every day people are talking about me on Twitter. It's kind of hilarious. And the Rose Twitter people, they enjoy, well, a couple of these profiles said, oh, then we found H.A. Goodman. Well, I don't have a Twitter account. So that's a parody account. That's whatever. Anyway, trying to impersonate me. Anyway, the point, though, is that people on the left who don't like my switch from Bernie Sanders to Trump, number one, they can't understand how that happens. So I wrote a Federalist article. That article's below, so people on the left can wrap their brains or educate themselves as to how somebody could possibly go from Bernie Sanders to Trump. Read the Federalist article. It's right there. What drives me personally, ladies and gentlemen, is that I want a foreign policy that's scaled back. I want Americans, men and women, in uniform, home with their families. I want never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts to end, and I want Americans to be brought home to their sons, their daughters, their wives, their husbands, their parents, their friends, their family. The left does not want this. They don't care. Whether it happens or not is not really relevant. The issue to them is, well, there's climate change people, and then there's the people that if you say something wrong, your life is over, and Bernie Sanders couldn't even endorse. The pundits that endorsed him, that spent the past 4 years running his movement into the ground. But anyway, if you look at March 17th, because March 10th, so tomorrow, is pretty much his campaign's going to end. He doesn't win Michigan. So tomorrow's the Michigan primary, but also there's Mississippi. Bernie didn't campaign in Mississippi. He actually ended campaigning. How can you win the Democratic primary if you cannot win votes in the South? How can you win the Democratic primary if you cannot win the votes of black voters in the South? Why didn't Bernie Sanders craft a message that resonated or that was appealing to black voters in the South? He didn't do that. Now, when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, I just thought that everybody, every demographic group within the Democratic Party would love Bernie's movement and his message and everything. So I was wrong. Looking back, I was wrong. And I understand why voters in the South, and I understand why Democrats wouldn't vote for Bernie Sanders this year. Primarily because, in addition to the fact the whole thing's rigged, we can get to that, Buttigieg and Klobuchar and Bloomberg and Warren didn't just miraculously decide to drop out. They dropped out because it was choreographed and the whole thing's fabricated and it's a charade. But when the Democratic Party represents political power and influence, and when your vote means perhaps the difference between not having political power and having political power or influence, you can't just take a chance on whether possibly in some, distant future, Medicare for all will be passed. Now, when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I remember reading an article, I think it was in the New Republic, by Michael Eric Dyson. And I was wondering, why... Yeah, the New Republic. Why wouldn't he adopt Bernie Sanders' campaign? And I said to myself, this is just, but then I realize when you look at, I guess from reading that article, from what I remember of it, his vantage point was that there are groups of Democratic voters, perhaps in the South, that cannot simply just take a chance on whether Medicare for All will work, or a Green New Deal will work, or abolishing ICE would work, or student loan forgiveness would work. They need the most pragmatic candidate. They need a candidate that would lead to, could defeat Trump or could defeat a Republican. That is the calculus or the desire or the what's important to voters throughout the Democratic Party, not just in the South. Now, I'm voting for President Trump. Record low unemployment, record low Black and Latino unemployment, First Step Act, removing Americans, bringing them home, withdrawing Americans, signing a peace deal just recently that nobody's talking about to withdraw Americans from America's longest intervention. President Obama did not do that. And Bush, of course, definitely didn't do that. But you have the first president also in Trump to step foot in North Korea. President Obama, Clinton, and Biden basically, through a failed NATO intervention, destroyed a country in Libya. We can go on forever. President Obama drank Flint water and then stood silent during Standing Rock. And we can go on the litany. We can go on forever. But President Trump, 5 million people have been lifted out of poverty. 6 million jobs created in 3 years. We can go on, but the issue is Bernie Sanders is done. His campaign is done. The jokes about me on Twitter, which I find really hilarious, and it's actually the jokes on the people telling them, they don't realize, they're not smart enough to realize that had voters thought the way I did in 2016, Bernie Sanders would have had a much better chance of winning. People gave up on the left instantly because the media told them Clinton was the front runner. I was saying Clinton would lose. I was right. They completely forget that. Then they try to say, well, H.A. Goodman said that Bernie could have still won. No, I said after July 5th. I never said he was going to win. Like 100% he's going to win after July 5th. No, I never said that. I said that if you listen to Bernie, he wanted a contested convention. Then he decided not to. And that's just, you can just do the research. He said initially, it's a because she was still the presumptive nominee. But anyway, after July 5th, when James Comey covered up crimes that any other person would have been indicted under, I never said. So I think it was, I don't even want to get into it. Another YouTuber said I said something. I didn't say it. Okay, whatever. My writing's there. You can just look. I never said that, Bernie's going to win after July 5th. Because after that, the whole point was he was running against somebody who should have been indicted. Now, the left should have wished those indictments were imminent. But again, you're talking about the most defeatist mentality combined with fantasies and, virtue, the whole condemnation and judgment and pontificating and just, this morally superior attitude. You're on Twitter, you're fighting the good fight. No, you're not, because guess what? Biden has zero social media presence, zero social media clout, and he's absolutely obliterating Bernie's campaign. Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee, like I've said forever. But you look at the polls, CBS, YouGov, he's 17 points up nationally, Washington Post, ABC, 16 points up, Biden is 16 points up over Bernie, CBS News, 17 points up over Bernie nationally, Reuters, 15 points up over Bernie nationally. CNN, that's CNN. Oh, they're like relishing that. Okay, they're relishing that. Then you have the March 17th. So March 10th, you have Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, and Washington. So I don't see... So Michigan, Mississippi, and Missouri, Biden's going to win. Okay. Let's say Bernie wins Michigan. It's really irrelevant because when March 17th rolls around, you have Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio. Bernie will get completely decimated there. Completely decimated. Steamrolled. And then you have March 24th, Georgia. He will lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have an American Samoa March 18th, so Bernie might win American Samoa. But, or Biden could. But you have like Georgia on March 14th. Or no, Georgia, March 24th. You have March 17th, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Ohio. You have about 600 delegates on March 17th. 600 delegates around. Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Ohio. He's not going to win Florida. He's like 49 points down in one poll. But you don't say that Fidel Castro did a bunch of good things and then, oh, well, President Obama said it. So what? You're not President Obama. What Bernie Sanders did was sell his soul to the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is, you're talking about one of the most insidious organizations on the planet. They foment a new Cold War and McCarthy-era Red Scare simply because they lost. Because a bunch of buffoons in the intelligence community, whatever, corrupt intel chiefs, make up and fabricate nonsense where they literally state in the ODNI and DHS reports, our judgments might be wrong. So they're literally saying their judgments could be wrong. But here, if you look, Bernie Sanders on March 17th is done. Okay? Now, they're going to make him after March 24th, the push to make him drop out will be unbelievable. They might roll out a Bernie dossier, just like when Bernie was like, oh, it's too bad that Trump had to work with Russia. And, he just fomented and spread the same nonsense that they used against him. I mean, Bernie Sanders knows very well that Trump never worked with Russia. He knew that from day one. He can't, nobody with a functioning brain cell thought that Trump worked with Russia. Most of my friends are Democrats. I would tell them, Trump didn't work with Russia. And they would in a very coy manner, we don't know. We have to investigate. Well, then, you know what? We don't know if Biden forced out that prosecutor because his son was on the board of directors getting millions. We have to investigate. Oh, no, you can't. You can't because there's no evidence. Well, there's no evidence of the Steele dossier. You still spent 3 years. So, what's the deal? With Democrats, they investigate fantasies, and they say, well, we still have to investigate because we haven't found what we're looking for. Even though there's no evidence to back up any crime, any conflict of interest even. There weren't even conflicts of interest with Trump and the DNC emails. He had nothing to do with them. They had no link between Trump and the DNC emails, and they still don't because there was none. He had nothing to do with it. They indicted Russian intelligence officials based on CrowdStrike assessments, not the U.S. government. They said Company 1. The whole thing's nonsense. CrowdStrike was outsourced by Democrats. Why didn't they just ask Trump to give him a tech firm? Oh, that's right, because of the conflict of interest there. Okay. But you look at March 17th, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Ohio. March is going to be like the end of Bernie's campaign, essentially, the beginning of Biden consolidating all the delegates, which is a whole bunch of nonsense anyway. Because there's 700 and something superdelegates in the second round of the convention. It's going to be a brokered convention or contested convention or whatever. Biden will drop out. Who knows how it happens? My ACL. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Who do we have? Oh, we got a shortstop batting .268 with 17 errors. Hillary Rodham. What? Let's bring her up. And so then Clinton, who cares how it happens? I will have made the biggest political call of all time. I don't want to, pat myself on the back, whatever, but I take enough heat for all it. hit pieces from the Daily Beast, raw story, doesn't matter. And that was when I was on the left. The left is insidious. They'll just go after, my God, they spend more energy going after themselves than they do against Republicans or Trump. Trump is like, that's an obsession they have just because they can't possibly admit that he won. Because they pretend that they forgot that the Electoral College exists, so then they want to do away with it, and then they want to pack the courts. It's like childish. And they go, yeah, well, we're just going to erase that from the Bill of Rights or the Constitution, sorry. And then, speaking of, the 19th Amendment is the 100th anniversary, centennial. You think they're going to roll with Biden? He's going to have a speech. He's going to say, and the founding mothers, Benjamin Lincoln once said, thank you for this cosmonaut award. Who knows? You're talking about one fry short of a Happy Meal. One bud short of a six-pack. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. Why roll with that when you have you seen the Hulu documentary of Hillary? Oh my God, it's amazing. Oh my God. It's so wonderful. I have never seen a champion, just like the New York Times said the other day. It's a politician weighed down by the brilliance of her own armor. Like Humpty Dumpty, weighed down by his cracked shell. Whatever. You know what I mean. They just try every way. It's like, oh my God, she's gone through so much. She suffered for us. It's like there's theological tones here. She suffered for your sins. Madam Secretary did. It's in the Hulu documentary. Oh my God. If there was just one way we could get Madam Secretary over Biden, it is the centennial after all of the 19th Amendment. Biden, he thinks he's running for Senate. Oh, I know. The second round, they're superdelegates. Oh, and then there's the Washington Post and New York Times articles coming out. Yeah, I said it. We need Hillary. We need Hillary. We need what? We need. You think we need? Okay. And then Democrats live their lives based on media. Their lives don't work without media, because media has to reinforce that it's not them. Debbie Wasserman Schultz didn't resign in disgrace. It was all fair, except it wasn't fair. Because the DNC email showed corruption, which swung people, which helped Putin. But it was fair because Clinton won and she's amazing. But it wasn't fair because Facebook ads swung the DNC voters. But it was fair because but it was amazing because she got the popular vote. Who knows? There's competing propaganda spins at all times. Democrats are in for a rude awakening. Remember Rick Rude? They're in for a rude awakening this November. Oh my God, this November is going to be fantastic. The blame game is going to be biblical. It's going to be a biblical blame game. You didn't adopt progressive policies. Medicare for all would have saved us. Well, then why didn't the Democrats pass Medicare for all? They don't even care about it. They don't even want it. They would rather have Trump, 4 terms, they would rather have Trump forever than have Medicare for all. They don't want Medicare for all. What more has to happen for people to realize this? What more has to happen? And you had Elizabeth Warren. Did you hear what Bernie said? Did you hear what Bernie said? Did you hear what Bernie said? Did you hear what Bloomberg said? That's it. Her campaign was based on gossip and she failed her DNA test. The only thing that was actually accurate about Elizabeth Warren was that she's 1/1032nd. That's it. She should do commercials for 23andMe. But Bernie's, I don't say this with glee, he ran his own campaign into the ground. All the people who took over his campaign ran it into the ground. He sold his soul to the corrupt intel chiefs. He sold his soul to the Democratic Party. And he didn't do what he had to do within the Democratic Party. His policies. It is true, you have to sell your policies, Bernie. And you obviously haven't sold them. Because everyone knows that taxes for everyone are going to go up. So then just live with it, deal with it, say your taxes will go up. Don't pretend the taxes won't go up. Oh, it's a payroll. You can pay for everything with a payroll tax. Oh, really? You think businesses are just going to accept that? Going to keep their employees? Then you have, I mean, after Biden will win Puerto Rico, so you're looking at Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, Biden will win. Georgia, Puerto Rico, he'll win. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. He'll end March with 6 straight victories. So what's Bernie gonna, from March 17th to March 29th? So what's Bernie gonna do? I mean, he's essentially done. Then they're going to say, oh my God, you're going to help Trump, you're going to help Trump, you're going to help Trump, you help elect Trump, you helped elect Trump, oh my God, you're going to help elect Trump again. Oh, we're going to have to live with this record low unemployment and 6 million jobs created in 3 years compared to 8.9 million under President Obama. Oh my God, what are you doing, Bernard? When I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, Bernie Sanders' movement was an actual political movement. He didn't just focus on Medicare for all. That was like one of many policies. He wanted to break up too big to fail banks. That actually, Alan Greenspan talked about that. Alan Greenspan talked about breaking up too big to fail banks. I'm still in favor of that, although that's not something that President Trump would do. But I think it's, important. It would help, soften the catastrophe of another financial collapse, or help prevent or alleviate, whatever. The point is, I think that, if Alan Greenspan's talking about it, and then Bernie Sanders, he didn't even talk about that. He didn't even touch upon that. And if you talk about the environmental impact of fracking, and you talk about the solutions that what they're pumping into the ground, the fact that really nobody knows what's in what they're pumping. Okay, at least you have to sell the ideas, but see, you can't just focus just on one thing that resonates, that gets retweeted a million times. Then you have people on social media, can my family have health care? Yeah, go ahead, and you can just call Blue Cross, Blue Shield, or whatever. There's a bunch of different insurance companies. Find the premiums that you can afford. Okay, because even if not everybody has the same premiums, and if you think that Medicare for all is going to be free, there's a $6,700 out-of-pocket Medicare costs. Go look it up. Depending on the Medicare program, it's $3,000 to $6,700. Do you have $6,700 to shell out every year? Because that's, what people on Medicare, if they really have to use Medicare, would shell out. So, and if you're on Medicare, tell me because I have a lot of viewers who are, in their 50s and 60s and even 70s. Give me your stories. Young people say, "Oh, government, it's the best. It's fine, good, yeah. Social programs, fantastic. And we need social programs. Doesn't mean that, socialism is the best because we have social programs. That's not how it works. But social programs are not free. You're going to pay for it somehow. It's going to affect the economy. And when they say, well, it's going to save money. Well, number one, not everybody has the same premiums, genius. Not everybody has the same health conditions or health needs. Number two, you're not assured of the same quality of health care. Okay? You're not assured of the same quality of health care. So, and you're not it saves money after 10 years if it works without a glitch. The ACA had many glitches, and the ACA was not even anything close to Medicare for all. So the government is not known for efficient, quick, effective, successful rollouts of anything, from military interventions to the ACA. Then you're like, oh, well, there's going to be less fraud. Well, there's Medicare fraud. There's a lot of, the government has less fraud. It's like $15 for a nail in the Pentagon. So, anyway, the whole point is Bernie never sold his ideas. And he sold himself to the Democratic Party. And then he said, well, we're going to have a revolution, and it's a populist revolution. 2020? 2016, it would have worked. Because we didn't know how good Trump would be as a president. Here's a reality that I hope Rose Twitter and the I'm With Her crowd and everybody on the left. Trump is a good president. Okay? The same people who are out of their minds regarding Trump. Oh, honey, how about tonight? No, I can't. I'm thinking of Trump. I have a headache. I'm thinking of Trump. Those people, they can't admit he's a good president. So every single day it's sensationalized to the point there's nothing there has never been a politician who has withstood as much as rabid a negative press as Trump, and still he's at 43% to 45% approval, which is historically in line with President Obama, Bill Clinton, and everybody else. So he'll win re-election. And Clinton will be nominee. She'll lose again, but they'll be so happy. Do you think, even if, let's say theoretically, Bernie could win, do you think that Democrats would want that? They would rather lose with Clinton. Far more lucrative. She could write what happened again 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. They then blame something else, some other country, extraterrestrials, who cares? They'll never give up. And then the progressives will be like, well, you didn't pass Medicare for all. Yeah, but you know what? Then they'll say, well, we lost because of you guys. We lost because of you. Again. We have to do away with any talk of Medicare for all because we're going to keep losing elections. It's going to backfire. It's going to completely be the opposite. And the same pundits who are like, Medicare for all, man, yeah! That Bernie Sanders can't endorse because they wrote something horrible. Well, then that's it. Your life on the left. See, I'm not on the left. I don't care about them. I don't care, I should say, about their message, their condemnation. I don't care, and neither should you. Nobody should care about a left-leaning Twitter profile's condemnation, judgment, pontification, morally superior act, facade, charade. It's completely irrelevant. It is completely irrelevant in life what somebody you don't know thinks of you. It is completely irrelevant. But to Democrats, they're like, I'm going to tell you what I think of you. It's like, who cares? That's why I do not have Twitter or Facebook, because it's a complete waste of time. And people nowadays, especially on the left, live their lives to condemn and judge. And if you live your lives to condemn or judge, you're inherently immoral. So, which then kind of undermines your morally superior shtick and act. You're not morally superior because you want Medicare for all, because it's not feasible. And you're not morally superior even if it were feasible, because Democrats don't want it. So you're basically like barking up the wrong tree in terms of morality. You think you're so noble because you want something that's A, not feasible, B, even if it were feasible, Democrats would never allow it to happen, and C, you've convinced yourself that your voice as a progressive or a left-leaning pundit is so powerful and influential that Democrats care. Democrats don't care. They're smarter than you are. They're funneling. Bernie, you think Bernie is fighting for you or some kind of revolution? He's funneling votes for the Democratic Party, and he will, like in 2016, support Hillary Clinton again. And be on this channel and H.A. Goodman's other channel for that. This is a theatrical performance, and you know who the audience is, the American voter on the left. And they're just eating it up. They're loving it. But I'm like in the theater saying, hey, that's those are graphics. That's not really true. That's not happening. I'll be quiet. It really is. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Okay, here's a newsflash. I don't know if you know this. Amy Klobuchar and Mayor Pete and Elizabeth Warren and Bloomberg, they didn't just drop out of the race just coincidentally. Okay, it was choreographed. So you have cheating, but then you also have Bernie Sanders and his miserably failed campaign, that he did it to himself and that the people around him just ran it into the ground. Nobody cares what you think in terms of morality. When AOC when there's a picture of her looking into a fence and you don't see what she's looking at, there's a reason you don't see what she's looking at. Because the whole thing's propaganda. Read my Jerusalem Post article on what AOC did to just completely mangle and butcher historical record. But again, I can't even talk about it on YouTube, but you can read it. Read the Jerusalem Post article. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. Subscribe to it. If you want to support my work long term in the most important election of our lifetime, my Patreon is below. Hey, check out my segment prior to this one where I deadlift 315 pounds with a 7-second hold. Not bad. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so very much. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman, other channel, and again, your Patreon support is greatly appreciated. To my new Patreons, thank you. We're going into this year strong, and it's a catharsis to be able to speak to you, and I hope that this channel and my other channel and my writing helps you through this very interesting election year. Thank you.